Hey guys, it's Jacolia of Jacolia Gems. Thank you for once again coming back to view my channel. I definitely appreciate it. If you are new here, welcome and greetings. If you are returning, hey y'all. If you have not already done so, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you have done so, thank you. If you have returned and have not yet bought in, what are you waiting for? So do me a favor, guys, turn on the post notifications, like this video. Please like it. It definitely helps me out in the algorithm. Share this to your social media platforms. Break it up. Make some reaction videos. Do whatever it is so that we can get these healthy, holistic, and heat-braided conversations that are much needed for the Afro-Asiatic community to begin to come back together. With that being said, we are back with another video about, sis, are you a good woman? Are you a good woman? Oh, this video. Okay, so there is a plethora of women that I know personally in passing associations, who I used to know, women that I see online. And all women that I know feel as if they are good women. Like, even the women that I don't know, you never really see a woman admitting to being trash before. And if she does, okay, so let me say this. It's very rarely that you will meet a woman who will own her mess. It's very rarely that you will meet a woman who say, yeah, I've been manipulative or I am manipulative. It's very rarely you will meet a woman that says, I have lied, I have cheated, I have caused fights and arguments, I have fumbled a good man before. I've been toxic, I've yo-yoed, I've created trauma bonds, I've overspent money, I've emasculated a man, I've cut him off, I've smashed his homie, I've backdoored a friend. I've done this, that, and other. Every woman, not every, a lot of women, I want to say a good 20% of women, I'm going to use the 80-20. A good 20% of women know who they are. And a lot of times, sometimes I'm going to say about 12% of these women have some type of sexual history, okay? Have some type of experience or maybe some type of something that'll make them not as popular. Maybe they're a single mother. Maybe they're not as well off in their finances. Maybe they are poverty stricken from childhood, or maybe they are high earning and they just choose to sit back and wait. And then you have the other side of these 20% of women who are either untouched or they don't have that experience. They sit back and they wait because they have gotten to know them. They have assessed the other relationships and marriages around them. We dealing with 20% here. Then you have the great majority of the 80% of women who believe that they have the top box, who believe that their esophagus are unbruisable or will not be touched at all, who believe that they are either the best cooks or make enough money that they don't have to cook or look too good to cook, or they're going to eat out, pause, or order out, as you know, or feel as if that's not their role, that's not their duty, that's not their calling, their dynamic. We are living in the 2020 somethings, and that's not a role of the Black woman. They no longer have to do that. We are dealing with 80% of the women who don't even have basic communication skills with other women, but deem themselves good women to men. A woman that cannot get along with other women. And when I say get along with, I don't mean hold space for a whole bunch of bitter, loud, petty, gossiping, bickering, backbiting women to get together. Because a lot of times when you begin to assess some, not all of these big friend groups, they're body swapping men. They are sharing gossip in chats. They're screenshotting things. They're being miserable. They may be making money, some of them, but they are miserable women. And a lot of these women keep men, and some of them are actually married. And we're going to get into that. So when you see these 80% of the women in comparison to the 20% of the women that I mentioned, then they begin to wonder, not the good 10%. They begin to wonder why, with all of their qualifications and the things that I'm going to lay out on paper, as to why that 12% out of that 20 can even attract. And this is because women have based what they believe a good woman is on the reality what the makings of a good man really is. Oh. So when we look at Proverbs, the 31st chapter, maybe I should bring that up. Let's look at Proverbs 31, right? Because if we gonna talk about things, we have to be biblical. We have to have some type of foundation on that which it is that we stand, so that we can say that we have a proper example and we're just not pulling things out of the air. I don't like to do that. I like to use my brain and add in information when I'm speaking and when I'm addressing certain things. So when we look at Proverbs, the 31st chapter, these are the qualifications of that which is the beginning of the makeup of a virtuous woman. Okay. And so when we begin to look, I want to say starting at the 10th verse, it says, a wife of noble character who can find, she is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. Okay. So that says a lot right there. That is what will make you a good woman, is that he can have confidence in you fully, confidence that you will not embarrass him, confidence that you will not overshare concerning him, confidence that he will not lack anything of value. And why is that? It's because a husband of value can begin to identify a wife of value before they ever cleave to one another. Men do not always, now some men do not always judge the character of a woman based on her flaws, because he is flawed as well. Men will judge the character of a woman based on how she treats other women, based on how she interacts with women in her family, based upon how she is towards children, based upon how she is towards him. It's about the character of the woman. And I'm going to get into some more videos about what type of man marry what type of woman. And this is just from talking to married men and talking to married women and being someone that's been proposed to several times by different type of men. It's a conversation that needs to be had. And she brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. So she brings him good. That means she's not a headache. Even if she causes him a headache every now and then, she's not a headache that begins to cause him to have some type of hemorrhagic migraines and mimicking strokes and all of these other things. She brings good unto him, that when he is not around, a good report comes back to him. No harm. Let's talk about the fact that a lot of Black women who calls themselves good women are the same women that if they have an argument with their husband or their boyfriend, then all of their friends know about it. And this is something that I believe all of us have possibly done before, lacking boundaries in relationship. And you cannot lack boundaries in your relationship and deem yourself a good woman, because this weakens the infrastructure and it makes your head susceptible. You cannot find yourself being a good woman if you begin to bump heads with a man or something happens and you all of a sudden, I'm going to call my husband, or you're one of those loud women that's in a restaurant or somewhere and you're trying to argue with the man because you know your husband is with you. We just saw when the young woman went into the bodega in New York with her daughter and they were trying to buy a bag of chips and her EBT card wasn't working. That happens sometimes. The systems go down. Sometimes it's just the store. Sometimes the Stripe, whatever. Instead of her being like, okay, I'll be right back or something, whatever it is that I'm gonna go get my boyfriend. Her boyfriend got stabbed to death by this bodega worker. And a lot of times this is the mindset that Black women have. I went through something a couple of years ago with a man, and because people know me, know how I am, know my family, know I have a father, X, Y, and Z, a woman said to me, "Oh, you what? Why didn't you make a phone call?" Why would I make a phone call to endanger the life of the black men that I say that I love, about a situation that I put myself in, that I'm not ready to leave, and that I can handle on my own? See, this is the broken mindset of black women around us. Just like that woman, she had her two brothers come to her and her boyfriend's house knowing that her boyfriend owned a gun. So where are the good women that do not bring harm? We're going to talk on today. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. This means that she's not mumbling and she's not complaining. How many women do you find that actually finds pleasure in gathering up the things for their household, who goes to work eagerly? She is like merchant ships bringing her food from afar. See, this is beyond grocery shopping, okay? Does this woman have the mindset, even if she does not have the finances to do so yet, to live autonomously? Does she have some type of reserve, so in case the lights go out, is she gonna be able to still cook? In case the gas go out, is she gonna be able to still cook? In case there's a natural disaster, is she still gonna be able to provide for the children? Does she have canned goods set up? Does she have water set up? Does she have the first aid kits and all of these other things, alcohol and peroxide and vitamin E's and all of these things? Does she have all of these things ready? Is she starting her own gardening? Is she learning about how to cut out the processed food and to really rebuild the womb of the black woman? Or is she so stuck on the mindset of, as long as I'm working and I'm paying bills alongside, then I'm your equal? She gets up while it is still dark. She provides food for her family and portions for her servant girls. Wait a minute. So she's not only a woman that's an entrepreneur, because I went over this in the last video. A lot of black women are entrepreneurs and they have opened up businesses, and over 20% of owned businesses have now been founded by black women, but less than 5% of them have their own employees. Can you feed somebody else other than you? And even if you are not able to, I'm gonna tell y'all this. When I have absolutely nothing, this is not me bragging. When I could be down to my lowest, I keep change on me to make sure that I'm giving to the homeless. If I have some type of food and I don't have any money, here goes some food. Here goes some first aid. Why? Because it's a way to plant a seed to say that I see you and you are human, and I want to be able to help you even in the circumstances when I am lacking myself. But oh my God, okay. But we have a lot of women who look at other women and be like, "Oh, this bum B word. She ain't got nothing. She can't do this. She can't do that." And this is what we call good women, because we have two nickels to rub together, okay? And she considers a field and buys it out of her earnings. She plants a vineyard. This is more, this has nothing to do with expensive cars and big houses. This has everything to do with the woman who prepares with foresight and prophetic insight to be able to read the signs of what it is that is taking place in our world and in our economy, that says, I can see that it's not safe in the city and things are about to start getting kind of tumultuous, and chaos is brewing up on us, and the Hebraic calendar and the Gregorian calendar, along with the astronomical signs and X, Y, and Z, are all starting to line up. So let me see where there's some cheaper land at. Let me see how I can get these weapons, how I can get all of these things, so that as my husband is out and as he is out working and he's out providing, he does not have to worry about all of these things. And even if she's unmarried, does she have this mindset? See, a man will look at the character and the mindset of a woman, and he will come in and he will provide income and infrastructure, because he will see that she is not a wayward woman. She is just an uncovered woman. She is just a flawed woman. There is something about a woman that does not lead in her masculinity. There is something about a woman who is confident in being just that woman. And then a man will come in to bring in provision as well. So it talks about she sees that trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out by night. And if anyone knows, when we look into the esoteric meaning, and even we let in the Bible defines itself within itself. Now we know literal lamp, that means that, she got it the oil and all of these things, but also the law is the lamp. Is she a keeper of the laws, the statutes, and commandments of the Most High? Because I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, something. The only type of woman that you are really going to find that is truly traditional is the one that has some type of cultural and religious background, spiritual background, or dynamic. And I'm not talking about from a Eurocentric standpoint. I'm talking about a woman who's at line with her creator, the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, regardless of what it is that she believes. If she has no infrastructure and foundation to fall back on, as her examples of Chokmah being wisdom and effeminate, or maybe she's believes in Egyptology and she goes by the laws of Ma'at. Whatever it is that she believes, this woman has to have a feminine power to look after as an example in the spirit realm. So begins to talk about all of these things, and her children calls her blessed. And she's a woman that sews, and she's a woman that makes covering for her beds and make clothing for her children. And she begins to be clothed in dignity, and she gives out words of wisdom and words of faith and words of instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. She does not sit back and bicker and gossip and bite. She will not allow her mind to be idle, because an idle mind is the devil's playground. And it talks about the legacy that her children have bestowed up on her. Let me tell you something. The way that you can judge a woman if she has children is about the way her children genuinely feels about her, how those children interact around her. Are they clingy to her, loving on her, affectionate with her? Do they listen to her? Do they obey her? Do they look forward to talking to her? Is she a confidence source? Is she nurturing? If she is not a mother, does she display this attribute with other people around her? And we cannot confuse controlling with nurturing. So, sister, I ask you, are you just educated? Are you just money maker? Do you just have a nice car and a pretty house? Is that what make you a good woman? These sound like qualifications for what we say makes the beginning of a good man. Him providing and provision. That's not what it is that you provide as a woman. Do you know how to shut up? Do you know how to surrender and to submit, even when you know that you are right? I'm going to tell you something. My mother would tell me, she would say, baby, I'm going to tell you just like this. I've been married a very long time. And there are times as a woman, I just have to be quiet, even when I know I'm right. Because your father cannot hear me in those instances if I'm combating with him. So you will see me say, hey, you got it, Robert. I'm not going to argue with you. And she will walk away. She said, and he would come back, and I've seen it, and say, you know what, baby, you was right. Because a woman knows how to get done what it is that she needs to get done without saying anything. Are you cooperative? If he asks you to do something, do you just do it? Because if you don't, that means that you don't fully trust him. And if you fully trust him and you're still questioning his instruction, then you don't deserve him. So when a man says, why can't you just listen? That's a complaint. And that's him letting you know that he takes issue with it. And just because he continues to put up with it does not mean that he's going to elevate you and give you the same honor and respect. And even if he elevates you by proxy, if he elevates you by title, that does not mean he has elevated you in mind, because you are not able to follow instruction, void of being questioned. And that's not to say that you can't ask questions and have a conversation. But sometimes if a man say, do this, women have this big, no, you need to ask me. Why? Well, it's about, but why? I mean, I understand it. Trust and believe. I understand it. The can you do this versus the hey, do this for me. But why make a big deal out of the can you? Even if he said, do this, what's wrong with just doing it? A lot of women make arguments out of nothing, out of nothing, out of absolutely nothing. If you are talking and he tells you to be quiet, do you listen? And even if you stop talking, does your body language start to tell on you? If he says he does not want to talk now, do you give him space to process? Because truth be told, we women will bombard a man with something that we've been thinking on all day, all week. You didn't hit the group chat about it. You didn't got time to think about it. You've had time to process it, and then boom, you bring it to him and you expect for him to address it right away. Oh, because I'm not going to give him no time to get his life together. You had all this time to get your thoughts together and to gather yourself, and you don't know what's going on in his mind. And speaking of, good woman, do you ask this man about his mental health? Is he able to be vulnerable and soft with you? Can your man cry with you? If you are single, are you a safe woman that somebody else can express their emotions with? Do you complain about basic house care duty of being an adult? Do you want to be his equal? Are you able to communicate? Are you affectionate? Are you loving? If you are not affectionate and loving, don't come out here damaging nobody's son. They need love too. They need to see love beyond being half of the time unsatisfactorily slept with. A lot of men have mother wounds. And this is why they self-masturbate with your body void of affection. Because they've been so detached from the womb that the only thing they know how to do is destroy it. And by your bitter and broken mindset, you are not raising the standard, but you feel as if you have gained a prize because you have a man. It's a lot of women out here who have men and who have husbands who are not good men. And that's what that other 10% comes in at. We really have to stop living, in a state of delusion as Black women. We have to gain a sense of reality. Because if we saying that men are dogs and the pool is pissy and all of these other things, come on now, y'all. The attitude and the anger are traumatic responses, but a lot of Black women don't want to heal from these things. So I'm sorry to tell you, sis, a man will take a woman from the hood and wife her. A man will take a woman, not all men, they used to be on a pole and used to do this and that, and wife her above some women with degrees and with finances because of the peace and the character and the level of admittance and it's a certain level of vulnerability that comes with someone that's had to rebuild themselves and remold themselves and elevate their thinking. But a lot of women have always lived life a certain way, so they have not found the need to elevate, or because they've been able to sustain, or they never had before and then they now finally have. And what we call having isn't really having. Then they build up comparison. And this is how a lot of divisiveness starts. So I'm telling you, if you don't listen, if you don't serve in gladness and in meekness without mumbling and without complaining, that's not to say you ain't never gonna have no hard times. It's not to say that sometimes you can't vent and be like, oh my God, this is hard. Because being a parent is hard. Okay? Being an adult without kids, life can be hard and challenging. But as I tell my children all the time, the spirit in which you do things with matters. A lot of women wanted husbands and they have them, and the spirit in which they got them. stinks and it shows through. A lot of women who believe they are good are not. And a lot of women that are good, even though we're not supposed to call men good according to the Mashiach, can be great. I would rather be a woman of great flaws, a woman of history, a woman that's been broken and battered and have broken people and battered it, did whatever, and be fully cognitive of myself and growing in my mindset than to be a woman that believes I'm above my equal or my counterpart. I don't understand it. But yeah, y'all, that's what I got for today for this video about, are you really a good woman? Are you? Do your children call you blessed? You don't have any children. Do other people call you blessed? Are you a pleasure to be around? Do people learn from you? Do they glean from you? Can they sup from you? Do they come to you for words of wisdom, or do they come to you for bickering and gossiping and backbiting and the latest tea? And are other women constantly the topic of your conversations? Do you have fake pages to spy on people? Do you post subliminal posts? Are you worried about who he's with and who she's with? Like, are you warm and welcoming? Are you an experience? If you're not, then I say, hey, get some type of healing, because you ain't as good as you think. With that being said, this is Jacolia of Jacolia Gems signing off. Thank you for once again coming back to view my channel. Do me a favor, like this video, comment, share it, as well as subscribe if you have not already done so, and turn on those post notifications. Talk to y'all soon. Signing out.